Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's so great to have you here once more. For those of you who may not know, my name is Becc. I'm a spiritual teacher and a psychic channel. Today we're talking about the path of being. And I wanted to share this with you because I have been going through a great transition in myself recently, and I've learned so much about being and freedom and the painful restriction, the painfulness of structure that we have of the conditioning inside of us. And I was really left with an inner feeling of we must learn to be. We must allow ourselves to just be, to be who you are, and that this is the essence of all that we are. And that if we cannot allow ourselves to be the truth of who we are, then we will never feel free, and we will not truly live. So I want to read you a short poem that I wrote recently. Okay. I have listened to Spirit for all of my life. I have heard her voice when I was sleeping still, when I was suffering in the depths of an existence. I may call it days of hell. She sang to me. Hear the song of your bones. The path is already laid in you. And even whilst trapped in my chrysalis, I knew I was free. I recently learned about the transition period of a butterfly. I didn't know this until recently, that when a butterfly first emerges from the chrysalis, they actually have to stay very still and wait patiently for their wings to dry. And that really, really meant something to me when I saw that. I was having a difficult day because I was experiencing the intense release of some emotions that I had been processing. And I was doing my best to allow the waves of a kind of depressive sadness or grief that were there. And I saw this little sign in the area that I was that had this note about the butterfly. And I realized that I had been pushing myself to transform, and I hadn't been waiting for my wings to dry. And it all tied into my realizations or insights that I've had recently, and I want to share with you, which is, for those of you who may not know, a lot of you probably already do know, that I had a very difficult childhood. I grew up in a family that was very abusive and violent, and this meant that in my day-to-day life there was no safety. And inside, what it meant was I never felt like I could just be. I couldn't relax, and I couldn't be who I am. In any moment, I was many different false selves or false versions, coping selves, to try to survive and get through, and even many times change the experience that I was in. So I, for example, as a child, I would try to just appease, so I would obey and appease. Please excuse that loud noise that just happened. Someone very noisy in their car. So I would try to appease, and then I might try to just give up and surrender. And then I might try to fight back. And then I might try to just become whatever I needed to become. I would get very angry. I would get very saying, okay. It's all different tactics to try to exist in an experience, to try to prevent the way that life was. And that imprint stayed with me into my adulthood. And so I would many times unconsciously, even once I was safe and away from that environment, I would kind of not let myself be. And everything was about getting to, okay, I'll just do this and then I can be. And everything in life was about trying to make life a certain way so I can just be. And even though that is an extreme example of that patterning, we all have that patterning within us where we've been waiting for life to be a certain way, to allow yourself to just be who you are in any moment. And if we live like that, what I have learned, if we live like that, we are not free. We are completely dependent on our attachment to the way that things should be. It's as though there are strings that grip us onto like having this certain experience in life or having this thing in life not happening. And you are gripped by those strings, and that is painful, and that is a prison. And as I explain, I'm seeing this vision of like, a beautiful butterfly just trying to get out of this prison. And it's just like being stuck like in a cobweb or something. And we imprison our essence. We imprison the essence of who we are when we are not able to let ourselves just be. And when we say just be, it is to be with your experience in any moment, with allowing and with acceptance that this is how it is right now. And this is how I am right now, or this is the feeling that is within me right now. And until we can do that, we're not going to be free in ourselves. We're not going to be happy. All the happiness or the way that you make life become a certain way and then you feel good, that's just temporary, because you're still in those strings. You're still conditioned to it being that way and staying that way. The minute that it goes, you feel pain and you don't feel happy anymore. And this is the prison of suffering. This is the seeking of pleasure and the avoiding of pain. And I know for me, I was doing that in a very intense way because life was so challenging at one point. And then once I was older, it's safer. Yet I also had very painful emotional experiences that still needed processing, and experiences of post-traumatic stress, essentially. And so the fight became the inner fight of fighting with all that stuff. And I just think that recently I've come into more of a fullness of recognizing the depths of freedom and the depths of what is really needed. And what's really needed is you giving yourself permission to be who you are in this moment, not changing any aspect of what's here. Can you do that? And can you feel that? Can you feel that even though there might be pain, there is freedom? There is a freer sense of being there. And my sense is that this is the path of being that we are all walking in different shades and different colors. It is to align to the truth of who you are by no longer fighting with what is. When we actually are able to stop doing that, we let the essence, the natural flow of who we are, and the spiritual charge of our essence and our heart actually flow out and be manifest in your life and be manifest just like within and through you. And until you can do that, you're not free. You're not living purposefully. To live purposefully is to be living from that essence of who you are. So if anything, my message today is live from the essence of who you are and allow yourself to be as you are, whether you're waiting for your wings to dry or you're in that difficult experience of breaking down and becoming something totally different, like that caterpillar, they completely lose what they have been, so as to become the true beauty of who they are. So please allow yourself to be free. This is the only way to become free. It's the only way. And you deserve that. And in my experience, I wanted to share with you guys that something that happens in my life is, at the beginning of this year, I made a video about kind of energetic update for 2021. And it was about freedom, and it was called Reclaim the Essence of Who You Are. These were the primary energies that were wanting to come through 2021. I would say that that's exactly what has happened in my life. I've had to let go of so many different layers of myself. So many imprints, old things, old stories have come up, and I wrestle with them and I battle with them. And then I, after resisting, because it's painful, because it's scary, because we're identified, then I come back into the essence of my spiritual support team, and I release it, and I feel better as I do today. But that is what I've been doing for many months, and I felt like I've been in a cocoon. I've had many intense spiritual experiences as well, and really feeling very strange at times, in a healing way. It's just been a deep cleansing, really. And just looking at my notes here. And I realized that it was stripping me away, dissolving me down into only the essence of what I am. And also energies and messages about truth. This is also about the truth of who you are, okay? It's about no longer denying what is inside of you, or what is in your life, what is in terms of just who you are as a person, as a being as well. If you live in denial of who you are, if we live in denial of truth, we will suffer. It's only through truth that we can then weave our way accurately and become free. I'm going to read you a note that I made from Spirit. Okay? The sound of who you are is not written in stone other than the stones of truth. There is only one truth we each are, life. You cannot ever become other than this. So do not be afraid to live. Sing, for you are life. When you come down to the essence of who you are, when you see through thought, emotion, belief, identity, what we each are is a beautiful song of life. We are each a note in the harmony of life. That's the truth of who you are. And that's something that I think that you need to learn to feel. You get a sense of that through, this is why people do meditation, for example, observing thought, belief, noticing that it comes and then it goes, and then it comes again and then it goes again. And it's just this weird sea of consciousness. And there's this echoing truth or tangible truth that becomes through that. You also see it through healing when you release some pattern or something that you've been doing for a long time, and you see or you realize that you are different now, or that you can live without that thing or that way of being. You see it when you face your fears or transform your fears and you realize that there was no truth in them. All of this stuff is illusion. It's a painful, entrapping, ensnaring illusion that pulls us away from this one truth, that all you are and the essence of you is life. We are each life, and your essence does have a unique tone or sound that you offer as the essence of life, as an essence of the beautiful flower of life. And it's only through allowing this transformation process, by following the path of being, by letting yourself be in every moment, that you can become or register or embody that essence. It is the only way. I wrote a little note that my own experience was fighting to live. I was in a constant fight with life, trying to get free, and I guess I thought if I fought with life, that was the way to get free, right? And that we can understand that compassionately to that sort of fighting survival self. That makes sense. But it actually needs to do the opposite. And I wrote that also, my ability to make this video and offer these insights reminds me that I am free, and that I am continuing to become more and more free. There is nothing that you must do other than be you now. So come home to who you are. Let yourself transform wherever you are in that stage of the birthing of your full expression. Whether you are dissolving down or you're fighting that dissolving and you don't want it to happen because you're afraid of what will I become? What will life be? What will happen if I let go? What will happen if I stop controlling? What would happen? Do you know that that's truth? Does that feel like truth? Is that truth? And is it worth holding on to that? Is it worth the fight? And does the fight ever win? Does life not force us into dissolution all the time? No matter how much I fought with life, it pressurizes you, doesn't it? Because this life is a container. The larger life is a cocoon, right, of transformation, or a temple. All these different metaphors to explain that you are in a container of alchemy, and there's nothing that you can do to change that other than resist the process and add suffering. So let's not do that. And I want to come back to my example of myself, just in that there has been deep suffering here, okay? I have had to just, me and my yoga mat, sitting down crying like, every second morning or something, because that's, unfortunately, that's the kind of damage, let's say, that's done when you have my particular life experience. And it's okay, because that is exactly what was meant to occur for me to be able to offer this. My life has been one big dissolving and cocoon. As I was saying though, lately it's been very intense, and it has brought me into a fullness of a realization that I'll share with you. So for a long time, and this will just help hopefully clarify my point. A long time, especially if you've been watching my work for a long time, you will notice that I have changed what I'm doing a million times. Not crazily, but 10 years ago I was dabbling, and I was doing energy healing, animal communication, card readings. I played with energy medicine and flower essences, people healing, all these different things. Then a bit of channeling, then a bit of reading, going back and forth with different things, medical intuition. And it was in part I was exploring, but in part also I was narrowing down who I am, right? I was narrowing down and clearing out what isn't me, or what isn't the closest me. And I was also, on top of that though, I was trying to figure out what I should be. Okay, and this is a thing that we do, and this is my point, is that we try to make ourselves something other than what we are. So I had it in my mind. I don't know exactly where I picked it up, but maybe many different places, that I had to be, I could only be a channel, or I could only be an animal healer, or I could only be a teacher. And that is a thing, actually. If you're in like the coaching business or anything at the moment, you'll see it's all about niching down. And that is a good idea for many people. For me, though, I kept kind of trying to say, okay, I am a coach, or I am a this. And, that was working for me in different ways and things. And I learned a lot and things like that. But really, what I realized is that my essence is exactly perfect as it is. And that through having these different abilities that I couldn't kind of narrow down, of just like channeling like all the clairs and all of that, and having so much healing sort of experience, I am able to serve in a different way. I'm able, and I'm actually perfect as I am, in that I am a teacher. I would say that's the primary thing. And then also I'm a channel. Ultimately, I am kind of like just a spiritual servant. So I kind of serve spirit. And this is what I realized recently, is this is what they would do in the temples many eons ago. The priestesses would just release the sound of light, however that came through. If they got a vision, if they got a teaching, if they got a song, whatever it was, they were just for and of spirit and devoted to spirit. And that was their role, and it was perfect. And I don't use that word priestess because I don't think that it's a good idea for us to use terminology that it sort of could link to a hierarchy at this time now, due to where human consciousness is, and people not recognizing their own power currently. But essentially that's what I'm doing, and that's how I'm built. That's how I'm built, is to just offer anything that comes through. And that's my deep love of service to spirit and all of that. And I was never meant to niche down or squish myself into one thing. And this has meant that I have a few things coming up that I'm not going to go into right now, but I'm really excited and I really want to tell you guys soon. But the creativity that's born from that expansive place is perfect. And it means that I can help a wide range of people. And there's all these different reasons why it's completely perfect. And I had to kind of reclaim that essence, that is who or what I am. And there was no point in fighting it. There was no point in trying to make it marketable or sellable or understandable or anything like that. I just came to be me. And that's why part of why I'm just sitting here talking with you guys today, because in part that's what my heart wants to do, is I just want to talk with you guys and share these sacred insights that come through. Light comes in many different forms. And my highest intention for sharing this with you is that I hope that you can see that you are perfect as you are. And even if you can't identify exactly where or who or what you're meant to be, it doesn't matter. If you follow the path of being, you will come home to who you are. You're already built exactly perfect. And this is the ridiculous thing when we zoom out, is that life is God, and life knows everything it is doing. We can trust in this great God force. It has a much wiser, higher perspective than my limited human self. So how could I ever doubt? How could you ever doubt the divine nature of your essence? For you are made of God. Doesn't that just seem strange and illogical if you can zoom out and grasp that? You are perfect as you are, and this path of being asks not one thing of you other than you let yourself be.